8 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the Wednesday, June 12, 2013 meeting of the Logansport Board and Works to Safety. Please, Board of Works and Safety, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Mayor Ted Franklin.
Here.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Chris Armstrong. Here.
All members present accounted for. Approval of minutes from the June 5th, 2013 meeting.
I've read them. I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes of the June 15th meeting as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $70,389.80.
I have reviewed them, and I would make a motion that we approve the claims in the amount of $70,389.80 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. That also passes on a vote of 3-0. There are no licenses for consideration this week. Are there any visitor comments? All right, no visitor comments. Under old business, this is going to be code enforcement, I believe. This is going to be building commissioner, 516 East Linden. It's a combination of code and building, probably. Can you give us an update? Is there anybody here representing Mr. Perez? Okay, if you would please come and state your name. Yeah.
Andrew Hockey.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome.
I understand there's been some discussion regarding final settlement of the issues that surround the property at 516 East Linden. Do you have anything? You're representing the owner of the property, is that?
I am.
Okay.
And we just received notice of the code citation or the ordinance citations that he was in violation of yesterday. I have not had the opportunity to tell Mr. Perez what ordinance violation or citations that he's in violation of, but I do plan on going there after this meeting this morning.
Okay. And it's my understanding that there are a number of violations, some issues with siding that's been placed over a fence and a roof that's placed over or maybe added to the fence. There's a number of issues that we're still facing with that property. Do you have any idea as far as a drop-dead date when we've been dealing with this for several months now, if not 6 months, maybe? December 7th. So we're into the 7th month at this point in time.
I think 30 days should be sufficient for him to get to bring the property in compliance with the ordinance.
Okay.
I think as of December 7th, he was in violation of a different ordinance.
No, there's been no movement whatsoever since December 7th. Nothing has been, I take that back. I won't say nothing. He has finished cleaning the property up, removing the vehicles and the trash. But as far as the fence and the siding and the setback standards, there's been no movement on that.
I think there were several violations under different statutes, different ordinances that he would be in violation of. I don't think there's any one that we could point to and say this one, and this one. It was a combination, and he has addressed some of the issues, is my understanding, but not all of them.
He has addressed some of the issues, and like I said, I will inform him of the ordinance citations that he's in violation of, and I think 30 days should be sufficient.
Okay, and at the end of that 30 days?
We could set a hearing. I mean, you could go ahead and schedule a hearing in 30 days, and we can come back and update the...
Okay, if we're going to do that, I would rather set the hearing for 21 days and take the action after 30 days. I think we've been at this for about 7 months now, and I think 21 days is more than enough to address the issues that we're facing here. What I don't want to get into is another 30-day extension and then a hearing and then another 30-day extension. Next thing you know, it's we're facing inclement weather, and it's just another reason to avoid what ultimately has to be done. So I'm willing to submit to the Board of Works for their consideration a settlement that would allow more time to complete the changes that are necessary, but after 30 days, if they're not completed, finished to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator, who's not here, but the planning department, planning and zoning, the building commissioner, and the code enforcement officer, if after 30 days, I really believe it's time to take action. We've reached out in several different times to try to work with the individual that owns the property without any success. So,
Well, he's willing to comply. He did not know, and we have not been put on notice of any ordinance. The only ordinance violation that he was put on notice of was the ordinance with respect to the cars on the property, and he did clean those vehicles up. I'm not sure, I wasn't really involved in December, so I'm not sure how long it took him to clean those vehicles up. He will get notice today of the ordinance violations or citations that he is in violation of, and I think we're fine with 21 days, but I think he is being put on notice of those as of today. He'll get notice of the specific ordinance citations that he's in violation of as of today.
okay, so if we set July 3rd as the next appearance, either Mr. Perez or you would be here to represent himself?
I am not going to be able to make it on July 3rd. I could, and I don't want to represent that he can make it on that day either without
Sure.
speaking with him. I could do the very next Wednesday morning, though.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we have either his counsel or Mr. Perez respond to our building commissioner so that such that he can make a report or an update as to what's being done and how close to completion it's going to be, and he can report to us, and if that's satisfactory, then another week for on the 10th for the final.
That's
I mean,
if that's in the form of a motion, I'd be
I would
happy
make
to.
that motion that we continue this until for the July 3rd meeting, and either in person or in report to the building commissioner, who would then report to the Board of Works the ongoing status of this case.
I would second that motion. Is there any discussion? It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to address this. It's, it's really nothing that we take great pleasure in doing, but it is a necessity, and we are forced to follow up with it. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, continuing under old business, 208 South 6th Street.
208 South 6th Street, we had to reschedule the meeting with all the budding property owners to July 1 to coordinate with everybody's schedule. So we're going to meet with all property owners on July 1st and seek a combined understanding and agreement how we would recommend to the board how we're going to move forward. So I would ask that the following Wednesday, which I believe is the July 3rd date, we will be able to present an opinion and a recommendation to the board on how to react to that bill.
Is that building considered stable? Would it withstand a windstorm?
Well, there's 100-mile-an-hour winds that might be coming.
I read that story.
I mean, nothing probably. It is stabilized on all levels. We put diaphragm walls on the first and second floor. We put structural cross bracing up on the third level, which is just the metal side section. It's as stable as we can make it today without getting into some more elaborate and intense work. But yeah, I mean, right now it is stable.
Are there still barricades up?
No, there are no barricades.
Should we put barricades up? Barricades and some caution tape?
The area that would be a concern is on the north side, and we can barricade the end of that. The body detailing shop is the only one currently that uses that, and that's a drive-in and drive-out application. Very, very seldom do they ever park in that alleyway to do any work. I have talked to the owner. He is very cognitive of the building and the concerns, so he's making a concerted effort not to occupy that alley at all.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
So do we need to continue this one to the 3rd meeting?
Okay,
I motion we do that.
The motion is to continue until July 3rd, waiting on, in anticipation of another progress report regarding the building at 206 South 6th Street, and I would second that motion. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Under new business, we have 529 Washington Street, and George, is that you, sir? I'm sorry, I'm sure I would butcher your last name if I tried to, or Leskowitz. Okay. If you would please come to the microphone. If you would state your name and address for the record.
George Leskowitz.
Can you move the microphone closer? It just doesn't pick up, and it's mobile. There you go.
George Leskowitz,
Okay, and what's your address?
182 West 7th Street, Peru, Indiana.
Okay, thank you. We have you here today regarding a property that shows you of being the owner of record, 529 Washington Street here in Logansport. Do you own that building?
Yes, I do.
Okay. We've had a number of problems with that building, and they go back quite some time. I have a file here. But in particular, we had a problem last week where the gutters had literally fallen from the building, and the soffit and overhang had also fallen from the building and fell into the neighbor's yard, along with a number of shingles off the house. There are very few, if any, shingles that are left on the garage. The garage is in a state of disrepair that I'm not sure that it's ever going to be able to be salvaged. If memory serves me correctly, we had this discussion last year, and there was an agreement that you would demolish the garage and take care of those issues on your own. But to date, nothing has happened. Can you give me what's your action plan regarding that property?
Well, right now, I don't have any action plan.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, I really don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I have is the weekends. I do travel for work. I do travel 83 miles back and forth 5 days a week, and the only time that I would have is the weekend, and that would be it.
Okay. I appreciate the fact that you're traveling for work. I also hope that you can appreciate the fact that we as a board are forced to deal with.
Yes, I understand that. Yes, I do. I understand that.
And,
yes,
you know, this is nothing, again, that we take great pleasure in.
right. I understand that.
I'm just thumbing through the file right here. I do know that we have mowed already once, just last week. I think it was last Thursday. The grass was at least 3 feet tall.
Right.
The debris falling off of your property was falling into the neighbor's property, and it's just simply not acceptable. We're trying to, we would like to find a way to work with you, but at the same time, we had a promise of action this time a year ago, and still don't see any. I have, as I go through the file right here, I'm back to 2005. May of 2005 is the earliest that I have so far on record. So we're dealing with this for about at least 8, there's one, 2003, so we're up to 10 years.
Right.
2001, we're up to 12 years. So we've been dealing with this property for 12 years, and honestly, it's not getting any better.
Right. I understand that.
I do, again, I appreciate the fact that you travel for work and the time is limited, but at the same time, I think that we owe our citizens,
Right. I understand that.
they deserve better.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Well, I've talked to the zoning commission over the property. We've talked on the telephone back and forth, and you know, I've come over there, I've mowed some, yes, but I understand that, you know, it has to be mowed every week.
Mhm.
That's the responsibility. I do understand that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and so at this time, you have no plans to take any action to demolish either the building or the garage?
If I have to, yes, I will demolish that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell me when those would be demolished? We're going back, keep in mind, 10, 11 years at this point in time. And the city of Logansport has taken a very aggressive approach in finally addressing these properties that have been on the property cleanup list for a number of years. And we're going to require some very quick action. And, I always like to, and the board always likes to work with somebody as long as we have a reasonable timeline. 10 years is not reasonable, and we're trying to, we are prepared to take action on this
I understand that.
very soon.
Yes, right.
There's a danger of the garage falling at this point in time. It's propped up with boards on the inside. The roof
Yes,
is
I've done that. I've done that.
the roof is collapsing. There is absolutely no shingles whatsoever. There's no rain protection.
Right.
The house.
Well, I would start on the garage first. The garage won't take very long because it does have a block sides on both sides and all the way around it. The roof and everything, I would say 30 days to take the garage down and address this side and over there and get new shingles on.
Bill?
If I could, I had conversations with the owner on the telephone, since December of last year. We had an understanding on the telephone one day that the owner was going to come into the office on a Saturday morning, and we were going to sit down and put together a plan, a scheduled plan, to deal with this property. In the file that you've shown and what I have, there's been repeated goodwill attempts to deal with the property, by this owner. I think by what you're saying is because you are working 5 days a week and you're traveling a great distance, all you have left is the weekends to do.
Yes,
this work.
that is correct, yes.
But that's the same reply that I got back in December when you and I had talked back in December.
That is correct, yes.
With the assurance that we were going to move forward and we were going to see some improvements and corrections on the property. And I think because based on your schedule, I don't think I think it shows that you've been unable to find the time to be able to work this property.
Right.
So with that being said, I am not comfortable of extending for another 30 days in the hopes and the desires of this being handled at this point in time without some sort of surety or something that protects the city's liability for allowing this to continue for another 30 days. I mean, and that would be my recommendation, that if the board desires to allow this to be extended for another 30 days, I would request that it comes with a financial surety, a bond of some sort, that if it's not done in 30 days, then the city then has the ability to do this work themselves, be reimbursed. And secondly, if an event does happen within the next 30 days, as we allow this extension, that we are protected from that event and not expose ourselves, because it's been going on for a very long time. I do sympathize with the owner, and I certainly understand his position, but in my mind, it comes down to this is just a piece that is just not able to be dealt with because of current conditions that are going on with his work and his travel and physical time that it's going to take. So my recommendation is that if we do allow an extension of 30 days, that it comes with some sort of a financial surety to protect the city liability.
Well, I understand that, and to me, I would like, if I need more time, I would like to have that time, but I would like to show the city that I am getting something done on this property, showing that, like the garage is coming down and all that stuff. If I need more time, then I would come back and talk to the building commission and see if I could get more time.
Sure, and I appreciate what you're saying, and
I mean, this is, I understand what he's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and, I understand the people has an obligation next door and all that stuff.
Right.
But then again, if the action is happening, that the garage is coming down, and there's improvements on the property, that, and if I need more time, I can come back and ask him for more time and say, hey, I need more time.
Sure, and I
And-
appreciate
and-
where you're
and
coming
this
from,
is-
and I think what the
I
building commissioner is
understand what
saying
he's
is
saying.
we've waited 10 years
Right,
already.
right. I understand.
And
Yes.
how much more
Right.
time is it? We say 30
Right.
days now, but
Right.
this conversation,
No,
the
no,
conversation
I
we're having
mean-
right now
I
took
mean-
place in
I
December,
mean,
and we
what
haven't
I'm-
seen any progress since then.
Right. What I'm trying to say to the board is, if I get started on the garage and I'm doing the stuff myself, tearing the garage down, taking it down, and I need more time to work on the house, get the side done, get the roof done, I'm going to have to come to him and say, hey, I need more time. This is what I'm trying
Let
to
me ask you
say.
this,
Yes.
if we were to grant you some more time to work on this, how quickly could you have that garage down, the car hauled out, the motor hauled out, and all the stuff cleaned up around the garage? How quickly could you do that?
Just the garage.
Just the garage.
I would like 30 days for the garage.
If you pull that one post out, it's going to collapse, and then it's just a matter of hauling the parts away.
Well, that's what I'll do. I'll haul the car out of there, I'll
But it
haul the
shouldn't take
motor out of
30
there.
days to do that.
And I'm talking about cleaning this side up. I'm talking about that too, cleaning the side up, get started on the roof and everything. I'm talking 30 days. And then to me, show the city that I'm trying to make improvements. And if I need more time, then I would come back and ask you for more time.
With the financial instrument. Great. Before we go on, I have to point out to you, again, with all due respect, last year, the city of Logansport invested $176.17 in that property, just mowing the grass. Just mowing the grass. Are you willing to reimburse the city that $176.17 today?
I can do that, yes.
You can write the check today?
I'll
You
go
can-
home and get the cash and then bring the money to you.
If you're willing to reimburse the city the $176.17 that we invested in your property last year, and guarantee that the garage will be down, hauled away, completely cleaned up by the 23rd of June, which is 2 weekends, that gives you 4 days to get it done, then I would be willing to make that into the form of a motion with those two conditions, that the city is reimbursed $176.17 today, and that the garage is down, hauled away to the satisfaction of the building commissioner by Sunday, June 23rd. In other words, on Monday, June 24th, the building commissioner will do an inspection. If the property is not cleaned to his satisfaction on the 24th, the city will take action and finish the cleanup.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I would make that in the form of a motion that we grant until June 23rd, 2013. At the end of the day, we'll do an inspection on the 24th. We grant that extension for you to clean up the property, tear down the garage totally, cleaned up to his satisfaction, hauled away, and a reimbursement of the city, $176.17. That is in the form of a motion.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Okay, this goes on the tax bill, don't it?
We will adjust that. We can adjust that. We can take it off the tax bill. If you stop in and pay it, we take it off.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0.
Here at the building? Okay,
Thank you very much.
okay.
we look for more progress. The garage is step one. The house we will immediately follow up on after that to make sure that we're still making progress. As we're making progress, we'll work with you. When we see no progress, that's when we'll have you back.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. Continuing under new business, we have a request for to display fireworks at the Logansport Cherub softball field. There's a letter contained in our packets. I'll read the letter. I, Greg Ulrey, and Mick Shinrod are writing this letter to request permission to set off a variety of fireworks and the showing of a movie on a big screen at Clark Field located on West Melbourne Avenue on either June 28th or 29th for Logansport Cherub softball closing ceremonies. Thank you for consideration in this matter and recognizing these young girls as they have all played an awesome softball season. I have Fire Chief Mark Strong here. I've asked Mark to take a look at that and give us a recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. I did talk to Greg Ulrey, owner of the fireworks, and he's donating a small amount of fireworks. He said it wouldn't be a very big display. It's just a free gratis that he's donating, and he's also a firefighter. I have no problem that it's going to be a safe, and if you would like, we could have a fire truck stand by that night there for that. So I have no problem with granting this request.
Okay, is there any discussion from the board? I'd make the recommendation that we approve the display of fireworks to be held on either June 28th or June 29th at Clark Field on West Melbourne Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. That is with a fire truck on standby. Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Smead Street closure. This is for the annual bicycle rodeo up by Tower Park. I've been there many times. Understand what they're doing, and I would make the motion that we authorize the closing of Smead Street for the bicycle rodeo to be held on June 9th from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. No, that was a condition. Okay. No further new business. Under reports, we'll go Building Commissioner first. Hi, Bill.
Good morning, everyone. I have submitted my report for your review. If you have any questions on that report, I'm open for questions. As you'll note, on the Mike Anderson's project, I did get a commitment or an understanding on the completion of the light pole bases and the paving of the new parking area there. They're looking at a mid-July completion of all parking on that project. Logansport 5-Screen Theater, I will have a updated construction schedule from them on Thursday morning. They're meeting today as a group to put that together, so I will publish that to the board once I receive it. Logansport Hospital project is moving along as expected. I do have one bit of new business that's not on. We have a property at 1517 Smead Street here in Logansport, which has been condemned since the middle of last year. We have a lady that has purchased a property and she wants to start reconstruction. And she's provided a schedule. She's also provided proof of insurance on the property. And I'd like to get permission from the board to release a building permit for that on the contingency that it's strictly for construction. The house cannot be inhabited until final inspection has been completed, but that will allow her to have the utilities turned on to be able to do the work inside the residence. So I would like permission to issue that building permit for construction.
I think that is ultimately your call. I'm not sure that it requires board action, but we certainly understand the need to.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for the building commissioner? Make the motion that we approve the report as presented by the building commissioner.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Code Enforcement Officer.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
I have nobody requested to appear today. You have in front of you a copy of my report. You can see that the numbers continue to grow, particularly in the mowing list. We're to the point now to where we're starting to make our second round on some mowings of some properties. If you have no questions, I submit my report for your approval.
Looks good. I can see you're busy. I know you're busy, especially with the mowing, but everything else that follows along with it. Good job. I appreciate everything you're doing. Stay on top of it.
I would like to commend Deb, our secretary, because she has been working extremely hard on getting these letters out to everybody.
Okay, I make the motion that we approve the Code Enforcement Officer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you, George. Superintendent of Public Works.
Good morning. Hopefully you have in front of you my report. We continue to be very busy, the busy part of our year with people cleaning their yards and tearing bushes out and planting flowers. We're in one area one day and the next day it looks like we haven't been there, but we actually have been there. And we're probably at a break-even point now where we're starting back the second time and getting a hold on it. If you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them and hopefully get your approval on my report.
No, please.
On your street department report, what is working on thermal railroad crossing markings and manhole covers?
Okay, we applied and got a grant to put new thermal, which is plastic that we heat, which lasts about 10 times longer than painting. And we got a grant to do all the railroad crossings. We had to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
And once upon completion, we send the state an invoice and they reimburse us for the whole thing totally.
And then what's the manhole covers?
From time to time, those things will settle or raise up, and we have a thermal that we heat up again, and when the snowplow hits them, it takes them up. It's like an epoxy that when a plow or something would hit it, it'd raise it up rather than hit it straight on. And we put that around all of them.
Oh, thank you.
How long is it going to take you to finish the thermal? What was the term? Thermal?
For the railroad,
Uh-huh.
we're probably within a day of doing that. In fact, they're out painting streets today.
Okay. We're not going to do all the railroad crossings, though, are we?
Yes, we are.
18th Street?
That one's on hold. Sort of walked right into this.
I gave you every opportunity.
I know you did.
I would make the motion that we approve the report from the Superintendent of Public Works as
Second.
presented. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Chief Clark did submit his report. He was called away on business and is not able to attend, but he did submit the report. It's his standard report. He's gone over it with me. I'm very familiar with it. And is there any discussion?
I'd make a motion, we approve the chief's report.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Fire Chief Strong, do you have a report today? Okay. Next week? Okay. Are there any board member comments?
No.
Miscellaneous business including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns and any other matters not already considered. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.